Today I'm going to show you how to do Raptor style graphics on a car or truck. So you see I already have graphics here on this truck, and I've got, letters, and I've got tire treads with sort of a mud line on the outside, and I'm going to show you how to do all this today. So we're going to go to the side now that I'm actually painting today. And what you'll need for all of this is masking tape, the wide kind and the thin kind. Then you're going to need aluminum foil, and obviously your Plastidip, possibly some glass cleaner and a towel if you need to clean the surface. And then we're going to have my secret to all of this, warm water. And I like to soak my cans in warm water because when paint is warm, it sprays evenly and smoothly. So just keep it in there. Should be warm enough to put your hand in there, not boiling hot. Please don't boil your paint. And keep a towel here just to dry the can when you take it out. So today I'm doing sort of a mud tire, two of them, one here, one there, with some splashes of mud coming off of these tires here, kind of to go with the lifted truck motif here. So if you have a graphic like I do, just go ahead and cover the graphic on your truck here. If it says, FX4, FX2, Z71, just go ahead and tape it off and try to shape it to the graphic. I've shaped mine to the graphic here. I've got some words right there too. So just shape it, trim it with tape. Just come here with tape, trim it off. Try to make it as close to the shape as possible so it looks really good. So let's go ahead and start here. So we've got our supplies. So you're going to get a piece of aluminum foil, and you can use this to cover a broad area of whatever part of the vehicle you don't want overspray on. I've got graphics under here, so that's why I've got aluminum foil over it. The reason I use aluminum foil is because it isn't sticky and it'll come right off of the graphics here without taking anything up. So I'm going to show you real quick how to do a rip pattern on a vehicle with Plastidip and masking tape. So it's really simple. I suggest using the wide masking tape. And all you do here is you just get tape. I suggest short lengths because they're easier to control, and then just piecing them together. So you're just going to give it a rip down the middle, a really nice jagged rip. The more jagged you rip it, just make sure you don't tear the long sides in half. The more jagged you rip it, the nicer your rip graphics will look. So you're just tearing tape in half and trying to make it as jagged as possible. And I've got a bunch of little pieces here, and I like doing smaller lengths because, like I said, they're easier to piece on. A long ripped jagged piece is really difficult to control with your hands. Alright, so when you've got your rips, now this is the outside splash from my tire here, so I'm just going to go ahead and place it on there. And the great thing about the rips is that you just choose whatever piece you have, and it goes really good together because they're jagged and they're meant to look messy and torn. You could say they're claw marks, mud marks, whatever you want to call them. So just put them on like that. And you see how much easier it is when you tear them into smaller sections rather than huge long strips of ripped areas. So there we go. Make sure that you press the ends down So all of this right here is going to be the black part. This is going to remain the vehicle color. So let's go over how to do a tire pattern now. So since I'm doing a mud tire, I'm choosing to make it wide, kind of chunky and wide, and it doesn't fully look like a tire yet, but it will. If you look at a tire tread here on these aggressive mud tires, you've got these like lines and sort of a pattern here. So that's a little complicated. I'm just going to go simple. Now I have a fender flare as well, so you'll notice that I don't go all the way down. If you don't have a fender flare like I do, you're going to probably need to go all the way down and make it perfect going down. My fender flare is really big and it comes to about here, so all of this, for me, it's not important to make it perfect. For you, it might be. So when you've got this rip here, you're going to want to make it just a little more dressed up and intricate. So just get another piece of tape here and tear around it until you get like a little jagged piece here. Just put it on there and then give it a nice little pinch up on the top so you get a little tab to pull it off with. And just press that down. And you can just repeat that process with small chunks here. This just gives you more of the look of a splash rather than just a straight rip. If you just want claw-like rips, then you don't have to do that. That's your choice, but the great part about the rips is you can get as creative as you want, or just keep it as simple as you want. So I'm just going to do another one. Really easy, just tear up a piece of jagged tape here. I'm just going to put one going across the gas cap here. And don't worry about the gap. That will take care of itself. The paint won't actually go in there. It'll just spray on the surface. So you don't even have to tape that off. I'm just going right over the gas cap. Alright, so let's talk about the tire tread pattern here. So the tire tread pattern is really simple. All it is a long length of tape going the whole length of the vehicle that you want to have a tire tread on it. And you're just going to tape that down. And when you do that, you'll end up with lines. So just go ahead and outline your tire. So we got one strip here, one strip there, another here, and another here. So I start with 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're just going to come back and you're going to tear off smaller sections of tape here, like this, and you're just going to make the tread pattern. You're going to put these on, and you're just going to go like that, like that, like that, like that. And then you're going to get another length of tape when you've got all these done, and you're going to do an alternating line here so that you get a nice even pattern here, like that, like that. So you're going to do that, 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 and just use the first line as a guide. And then you'll do that again. You'll repeat it right here, do another one, do another one, do another one. So 4 lines for me makes 1, 2, 3 chunky treads for me. And then I repeat the ripping tape procedure, repeat that all right here. And I add a little bit of random rips here, just press it, leave a little tab. And then I did another tire tread, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I just add the little strips of tape here. And just make sure that for the long lengths you leave some tabs here so you can pull it off fast. This whole job is about speed, but it's really easy to mess up when you go too slow, because the plastic dip will dry really fast. And if you got a backlight right here, just get an outline of tape and tape an outline around it like that. And then wherever you want the graphic to end, of course, I've got my ending right here, and this is going to be my end up here, and we're not spraying anywhere in the back. So one thing about spraying an area this big, this is a truck, of course, so this is going to be a really big area. Spraying such a large area like this can be very difficult because the drying time for this whole area is just too fast, and you'll pull tape off and it will pull the Plastidip with it. So what we're going to do is cut this area into two. We're going to do that with aluminum foil. So we're going to do just this part and do this part after. We're just going to tape it all off here. Just remember to tape your aluminum foil down because it will blow in the wind. If there's a breeze, it will start blowing. And sometimes even the paint will, the pressure of the spray will blow it up. So just make sure that every part that you're spraying a line up against is taped down. And see, look, that's why I love aluminum foil. Just wrap it right there. So make sure that you come back and press everything down. Every edge that you're going to paint against needs to be pressed down 100%. So just go back and make sure all your rips are all pressed down completely. So now you're going to get your Plastidip that you've had in the water, staying nice and warm. Dry it off. Flip it over, take the water out of there. Shake it up. I always like to do a test spray and make sure that your nozzle is clear. So just do a test spray. I'm just spraying my tire. It won't do any harm. It'll peel right off. Alright, so shake your can up, and I can't stress enough that this whole part, this whole Raptor style splashes, all of this is all about speed, because you're going to need to pull all this tape up as fast as possible and as neatly as possible. So you're just going to start with the misting first. Just mist all of your painting area, everything you're painting, come through with a light mist. Shake your can up. You're going to come through here again, and you're going to start to spray a little darker and heavier here. Whenever you're spraying a spray paint, Plastidip is included. You always want to go for the wet look. It should look wet, like water. Make sure you stay a few inches away and spray in a fanning action back and forth. So just go ahead and build up your areas of coverage here. Build up your coverage. Don't overspray any one part too much. You should make sure that you can't see the vehicle color, because you can't really come back on this without removing like a lot of the graphic or really screwing it up. So just make sure that you spray nice and evenly, nice and quickly. So like I said, this whole process is about speed. reason why we're doing 2 areas, not all at once, is because you won't have enough time to remove the tape before the paint starts drying. Just make sure that everything is wet. You shouldn't have any dry areas of paint yet. The thicker the coat, the longer it will take for the paint to dry. So try to spray a nice, rich, thick, heavy coat on it. Alright, so now we're just going to start removing the tape. And this is where the speed comes into play. So just go through and start removing as much as you can, as fast as you can. Just make sure not to touch the Plastidip. And we're just going to remove our taped off area here. There we go. So we've got our first half done. So you see how cool that looks. And this is just Plastidip. And the key is removing it fast. If you remove it too slow, the Plastidip that's sprayed on the tape will become a sheet. And when you pull dry Plastidip, when you pull tape from dry Plastidip, it will take it like a sheet and it will ruin your project. So the speed is really important. I dropped my foil in my water. Be careful. Alright, so we're going to start the other side now. Alright, so after you just let the first side dry for a couple of moments, a couple of minutes, however hot it is, just try to wait until the shine isn't so obvious. It should have a very light sheen. It shouldn't be wet looking. But anyway, so moving on. So we're spraying this in 2 parts because, like I explained earlier, you won't have enough time to do the whole truck side, depending on how large a vehicle is. So we're getting some aluminum foil here. And we're just going to line it up to the old graphic here, like that. And this is why I love foil, because you can mold it. It'll stay wherever you put it. Alright, so we're just gonna put some tape to hold our foil here and also make a nice even line. So we still have everything taped off. So we're gonna take our paint that has been resting in the warm water. Make sure that you let your paint rest in the warm water between spraying so that it stays warm and sprays evenly. Check your nozzle, make sure it isn't clogged. Scrape it off a little bit. Have your towel here to dry off your your can. Always do a test spray. I just spray my tire because this is rubber spray. It'll come right off the tire. So, just shake it up. Make sure that when you're doing your project in half that you give an ample amount of space, of covered space between the project and the painted side so that the overspray won't reach the other side. So I've got a big length here, just the length, just the width of the foil. That's why I use a foil, because it's pretty wide already and you just lay it over. So let's do this other side. Shake it up, and you're gonna spray the same way. You're gonna do a misting over everything. You see on a truck how large this area is, so this is why we're doing it in half. One half, the other half. So you're just going to keep spraying the whole project area until you build up a nice, consistent, wet looking surface on all the areas that you want to be black. Pay special attention to the tire treads, lines right here. Just make sure that you spray consistently, evenly, fan-like motion. So you hear how I'm spraying. I'm going spray, 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 spray. I like to spray like that because I feel like if you hold the sprayer down too long, it can act kind of funny. So I like to just spray, 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 spray in conjunction with my fanning action. You might have to practice these rips and tire treads a few times before you nail the texture right on the head, but when you learn how to do this, it's really cool because it's limitless. You don't have to even do what I'm doing. You can do more dramatic rips. You can do them anywhere you want. And for so cheap too, just the price of Plastidip and masking tape and aluminum foil. So just make sure that you're covering all of your paint surfaces, the ones you want with graphic on them. Just make sure you're covering everything with a nice, even, wet looking coat. Shouldn't be any spots here where you can't see just pure color. It's especially important to spray around the lines where you're moving the tape. Those are the most important areas because that's going to give you your professional look. Alright, so you want to go through it again and re-spray everything to re-wet all the paint, to reactivate the paint as not dry, because it starts drying pretty quickly. So when you spray a new layer on it, it sort of penetrates the dry paint on it and makes it wet again. So just make sure that everything is wet. You shouldn't have any dry areas of paint. Spraying over a dried looking area will help re-wet the paint. So do that if you think your areas are getting dry. That's what I'm doing here. Alright, so speed. You got to start taking everything off as fast as possible. Make sure that when you remove the tape that you pull away from the project. Always pull away from it. Because if you don't pull away from your project, the tape could come back down and land on your project, on your painted area, and really ruin everything. Just come through, remove every part of tape here. Alright, so there we go. Oh, one more. There we go. Alright, so how cool is that? Tire treads, little mud on the side. Tire tread, little mud. So if you have some areas, sometimes you'll have these areas where the tape kind of took it up with it. Just pat it down with your finger. If not, you can always come back here, put foil on this side, and then re-tape it off and respray it. I'm just gonna remove that and I'll repair that later. But there you go. So cool graphics, Raptor style splashes, tread marks, whatever you want to call them, for really cheap. So I hope y'all enjoy. Let me know how it turns out.